Across America's heartland, MAGA farmers are facing a crisis no one wants to talk about. It's not just politics, it's climate change, and it's threatening their very survival.
I'm gonna try to get through this without crying. My name is Louise, and me and my family own a wheat farm in Kansas. We are all certainly lifelong Republicans, and we were so happy to vote for Trump in all three of his elections. However, we were certainly not aware that he was going to put a funding freeze on all USAID. 100% of our wheat produce is bought by USAID and shipped out of the country. So our farm is completely bankrupt. We have no customer. We had this whole deal with the US government, and now that is just gone in a second. And we are completely decimated. USA buys about $2 billion worth of American farmers' goods annually, and every single one of those farms is in the same boat as us now. It's a sinking boat. He didn't consider us at all when he made these decisions, and it would be impossible for any world leader to do something that could negatively affect us more than what Trump has done to us. And we voted for him.
This is a great question, and I genuinely believe that I know the answer. People from other countries are not fed the same propaganda that we are. People from other countries have better critical thinking skills than half of the people in the US. People from other countries are not raised to pledge blind alliance to their country. They are not fed the propaganda that their country is the best in the world and don't question it. But there are so many Americans that still believe this. There are so many Americans that can be told that Donald Trump is not doing the things that he's doing, and they'll believe it. Even when presented with clear evidence and facts right to their face, they'll just deny it. They don't believe in science and evidence. The average Trump voter is not able to discern fact from fiction. That's what it comes down to.
This is for any Democratic congressman out there with any balls or a spine. Shut it down. The government isn't functioning anyway. Everything we need is gone. $20 billion to Argentina? Who approved that? Who voted for that? How did Congress give up their Article 1 power? And Mike Johnson will not swear in the congresswoman from Arizona? What, she might vote to release the Epstein files that Peter Thiel is now in? Steve Bannon, Elon Musk. Shut the fucking government down. It's not doing anything good for anybody anyway. It is a total disaster. We are the embarrassment of the world. Do your jobs and shut it down. Find your balls, find your spine, and shut.
We're looking at 1 to 3 farms. 1 out of every 3 farms going out of business right now.
Representative and farmer herself, Deanne Vaught, explains the message her and other agriculture leaders discussed during Tuesday's public meeting in Stuttgart. They say it's a tough situation for farms, many of which have been around for decades.
The heartache of having to decide if I can carry on with the 5th generation farm or the 4th generation farm, and knowing that it lands on me if I don't move forward. That is a lot for a farmer to carry on their shoulders.
Now, despite a recent report from the U of A Systems Division of Agriculture showing net farm income expected to rise 22% this year, experts like Jeremy Ross say the math on the ground tells a different story.
You get $10 and you harvest a 55 bushel crop, that's $550, and it costs you $580 to put that in, then you're $30 in the hole.
meaning many farmers are operating at a loss with debts that carry over year to year.
The truth is, it doesn't really matter what you grow. You are projected to lose money on an acre, really no matter what you've planted on it.
Brandy Carroll with the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation says inflation, tariffs, and global conflicts have all driven up costs, while crop prices remain depressed. And while experts say the Big Beautiful Bill Act will provide $66 billion in new farm investment starting in 2026, Carroll says by then it's too late.
And so they're facing a really hard choice right now, how to keep their families on their farm and how to maintain their way of life. And so there will be a lot of people making really hard choices.
What you all don't understand about the Portland thing is that this is huge. Donald Trump is going to use this and make this as an example with the full force of the National Guard. He wants it on TV, he wants it in the newspapers, he wants it all over social media, and he is going to make an example of whether it's Antifa or any other group that has found out that they are attacking ICE agencies, that he is going to make an example of them. This is going to be truly a fuck around and find out moment. Hundreds are going to be arrested. God forbid people are going to lose their lives. I'm telling you, to the moms and dads, find out if your children are involved and tell them to stay away. Know where your kids are at. Know what your children are doing and find out who they are involved with, because this is manipulation in the highest level. Let me tell you something, that I've been doing this a long time, and I've never seen in my life how many kids have been radicalized over this movement. They truly think by attacking ICE agents is the best thing and the best interest that they are doing for America. To the children that are watching this, and if you are involved, you must stop at once. You've been lied to. The leadership is weak, and all they're asking for every single one of you is to do the dirty work for them. And to the moms and dads of Portland, Oregon, may God be watching over you. May God be watching over your children, and may God be watching over the United States of America.
You can't make this stuff up. Donald Trump announced this week that he will be using tariff money to solve a problem created by, yes, his tariffs. Yes, I am talking about the farm subsidies. Here's Donald Trump just this week.
By the way, we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, just to get off the subject for a second, we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers, who are, for a little while, going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit.
Oh, I see. So we are going to take the tariff money that American consumers primarily are spending, which was supposed to go to pay off our deficit, which has exploded because of Republican tax policy, and use it to bail out farmers because why? Trump said they're hurting. Why are they hurting? Let's do a quick review. You'll remember that right after he was elected, Donald Trump put 10% tariffs on all Chinese goods, then that went up to 20%, then he added another 50%, and China retaliated. Their reciprocal tariffs went up to 125% on U.S. goods. In May, the U.S. and China reached a temporary trade agreement, reducing tariffs to 10% on most imported goods. China implemented a 30% rate on most U.S. imports, good for 90 days. But then that was extended many times. But China did something else. They revoked soybean import licenses from 3 U.S. firms. And they basically stopped buying U.S. soybeans at all. This after having spent $12.6 billion on them last year. Instead, China started buying their soybeans from South America, primarily Argentina and Brazil. And this in turn had devastating impacts on American soybean farmers. Started seeing headlines like these and these. And these. In short, the tariffs have been an absolute catastrophe for soybean farmers across the United States. Catastrophe. So what does Donald Trump do? He commits $20 billion in U.S. taxpayer money to bail out Argentina, a right-wing government he happens to love, even though they are cleaning our farmers' clock in terms of soybean imports. Farmers everywhere are outraged, so what does Trump do? Trump decides this week to take tariff money and bail out the farmers. He's created a problem and he's making us pay to fix it. And then we're also paying to fix Argentina's economy? What? This is Trump's genius policy, break the economy with unaffordable tariffs that we're paying and then make us pay to fix the damage the tariffs did? But God forbid we ask for money to extend the ACA premium tax credits. Why would we do that when we could give it to Argentina? Remind me how this is making America great again? You can't, because it's absolute madness and you and I are paying for it.
You know those signs at Maine's Acadia National Park talking about the impacts of climate change on the park and the region? Yeah, they're gone now. The Bar Harbor Story reports that the National Park Service has removed the 6 signs on Cadillac Mountain and the 4 signs at Great Meadow. This comes at the direction of U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, who issued an order in May requiring the removal of any information in our parks that diminishes, quote, the remarkable achievements of the United States, which apparently includes decades of scientific evidence of climate change and its effects on Maine's environment, as well as the connection of the Wabanaki people to Cadillac Mountain. Sea level rise, storm surge, and extreme rain activity threaten Acadia National Park. They've already inflicted damage on Acadia. Maine Congresswoman Shelley Pingree wrote to Secretary Burgum a few weeks ago to object to the removal of the signs, saying it was whitewashing history. A National Park Service spokesperson told the Washington Post, quote, interpretive materials that disproportionately emphasize negative aspects of U.S. history or historical figures without acknowledging broader context or national progress can unintentionally distort understanding rather than enrich it. Be sure to like and follow for more Maine news.
Good morning. Got a little farming news for y'all. You may or may not know China is the United States' biggest customer for our soybean crop. We need trade deals with them pretty bad because they buy the biggest majority of our soybeans. Argentina and Brazil, down in South America, they're our biggest competitor in soybeans and corn. Sometimes they'll raise 2 or 3 crops of corn. They always raise a big soybean crop. But Argentina is a huge competitor for the United States. Well, this week, Argentina lifted a tax, a commodities export tax. I don't know the exact name of what it was. They lifted a tax on exporting commodities, grains, stuff like that. Well, in 2 days' time, China made a really good business deal. They bought 84 million bushels of soybeans from Argentina. That's 30 cargo ships worth in 2 days' time. Good business move by China. Don't blame them at all there. Well, in the meantime, Argentina stopped that, put tax back on because they hit their quota. Well, last night there was some kind of meeting. I don't know what all went down, but I know the biggest part of it that went down. The Argentina economy is pretty horrible. The peso is way below the dollar right now. They done a deal with the United States for some kind of line swap, pretty much a loan. The United States is about to send $20 billion to Argentina. Argentina is going to send $20 billion worth of their peso, which is not worth the same amount as our dollar is. So we're getting kind of the raw end of the deal on that one. And another thing about Argentina, they're not the best in the business about paying their bills back. They're kind of like your sister's boyfriend that don't got no job and don't really like to pay for nothing and rides off of everybody else. That's kind of the way Argentina is. We just sent them $20 billion. All the while, they're sending tax-free China 84 million bushels of soybeans. That don't make much sense. That's kind of like wiping before you poop. Why would you help out your biggest competition and hurt yourself with your biggest customer? I don't understand the deal. I don't know what's going on. I ain't trying to make this political. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If you voted for Trump, if you didn't vote for Trump, even if you did, there comes a time you need to start holding people accountable. I don't understand what's going on, but they need to get their head out of their rear end and start helping out the United States and their farming economy before they go to helping South America and other farming economies. I don't know. That don't make a lot of sense to me, but hey, that's just, it bees like that sometimes. You'll have that on them big jobs, but that's the big news. China ain't bought a single bushel from the United States this year. They just bought 84 million bushels from Argentina in 2 days. And the United States thought it was a good idea to go ahead and loan Argentina $20 billion just so their economy can do a little bit better. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong by being a little upset or pissed off, but I hope y'all have a great day. If you don't mind, hit that old like and follow and all that good jazz over there. Y'all get after it, baby.
I did not and would not ever vote for Trump, but when he goes in front of the entire world like he did at the UN yesterday and spews all that nonsense, it makes us all look bad. Americans, you know it's true. You looked at that man and you can buy into the Fox News spin all you want to, but that man embarrassed all of us, every last one of us yesterday. It was terrible.
At Maine's Acadia National Park, Climate change warning signs were removed under orders from Washington. Sea level rise, storms, and floods are already damaging the land, but even the evidence is being silenced. For farmers, ignoring the truth doesn't stop the storms. China, once America's biggest soybean buyer, turned away. Instead, they made massive deals with Argentina and Brazil, while silos sat full, foreign farms thrived, American farmers were left behind. Donald Trump promised tariffs would protect America. Instead, they sparked trade wars that left farmers stranded. Billions in bailout money were handed out, but it was only a bandage on a wound that kept getting deeper. Today, 1 in every 3 farms risk going out of business. Rising costs, shrinking markets, and climate extremes are forcing families to decide, can they keep the farm alive or does it end with them? For many, it's not just a farm, it's a 5th generation legacy. The weight of losing that history falls heavy on their shoulders. Years of hard work, sacrifice, and traditions could vanish overnight. This is not just about Trump, tariffs, or trade wars. It's about survival in a world where climate change is eating harder every year. And yet, leaders keep playing politics while farmers pay the price. The silent crisis is here. Climate change won't wait. Neither can farmers. If America's heartland collapses, we all lose. The question is, who will listen before it's too late?